Thunder. The Big JB here, Count Joshua on Twitter. It is early today, as a matter of fact. It is about 8:15, if that. My watch is apparently running slow. But I had to come into work today because I have extra stuff that I need to get done today. It's a drag having to come in and work extra hours. Today's Wednesday. I have my Wednesday night commitment working with youth. So I don't really want to be here too late, but I have a lot of stuff to get caught up on from being out on Monday. My knee's doing a lot better. Interesting thing that I actually wanted to share. I went to see my chiropractor yesterday, and he said that when he messed up his knee, he called he's got a knee guy, his knee doctor, and his knee doctor said, ride your bike. He said, no matter what your knee injury is, ride your bike. If you've blown out your ACL, ride your bike. If you've torn a muscle, ride your bike. No matter what you've done, ride your bike. So I figured that amount of exercise is probably decent, probably a good thing to do. I haven't done it yet. I haven't got out my bike yet. It's in my garage. My eldest daughter and I share riding it. And so I'm going to probably get it out in the next couple of days. But I've been trying to do some more exercise on it because my knee's really stiff. Icing it, I'm really surprised at how much icing helps. It's really amazing. It's like this miracle cure. Probably not. It's a scientific fact that when you ice something and to reduce the swelling, it helps. It's amazing. So one thing I wanted to talk about was things being measurable. Like measurable performance. When I was younger and I worked at Wizards of the Coast, sorry about that. We had, after Hasbro bought Wizards of the Coast, a lot of the management had to start doing things that were more regular reporting, and for all of our personal reports, we had to set goals, and our goals had to be something that was measurable. It was attainable. There was something else. I can't remember all the little things that made up this acronym that we used to remember it. And I hated it. I really chafed on it. And I know that some people watching it are going to hear some corporate speak in there and just absolutely hate it. And I agree. In general, I think the corporate speak is useless. The thing that I've come to realize, though, is that my job is not the thing that I'm looking to be ultimately satisfying. What I'm passionate about isn't really my job. I love my job. I love being a project manager. I'm passionate about doing a good job in that role, but it is not the be-all end-all for me. I have so many things outside of my work that I find hugely satisfying, including being a father, being a husband, gaming, working with youth. Those things are the things that I'm really passionate about. So I put everything that I can into doing an excellent job at work. So the whole measurable thing used to really bother me, but now it doesn't really bother me that much because it's not like I'm defining my personal worth by what work says about me. So if I have a measurable goal of increasing something by a certain percentage, that's okay, and that's something that I can really push toward. And this whole thing kind of got started while I was listening to some old podcasts from Scott Kurtz and Chris Straub called The Daily Affirmation, and they're 3 or 4 years old now, but they were talking about defining significance or defining what is notable. They talked about that in something regarding their Wikipedia. They had a topic on Wikipedia, but then they also talked about defining something in terms of an art, in terms of what somebody is doing, and whether or not it's makes a significant contribution or not. And I said, well, internally, I said that there's this. It seems like there's this idea that certain things can't be defined, and if you define it, somehow you take away from it. But I don't think that that's necessarily correct. If you have a whole bunch of people who are trying to judge whether or not something meets a criteria, you have to define the criteria first. And so, when I was younger, I really, really chafed against that idea. I really hated that. I wanted to be the free spirit. I didn't want to have to, stick to those kind of definitions. But as I've gotten older and as I've matured a little bit, I realize that those things are actually really good. They're really good to have. It's important to have some kind of measurable idea or measurable goal that you can achieve. If you don't have something that is based on something that's measurable, it might involve numbers. It's not reducing you to a number, but it might involve numbers. Like, okay, so for my personal finances, I want to have, 50% of my monthly income in savings every month. Cool. Right there, you have a measurable, attainable goal that has a number assigned to it. It doesn't mean that you're a failure if you don't get it. It just gives you something that you can aim for. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing anymore. And I thought it was an interesting change in the way that I've matured, where it's okay. I would rather have numbers that tell me how I'm doing than sort of this amorphous, touchy-feely, well, we really like you and we think you're doing good. That's okay, but that's not what you're going to base my raise on, probably. If you're a corporation, certainly not. You're going to do it based on how well I'm meeting the expectations. So a little bit longer of a Morning Thunder today, but I thought that was an important thing to share. So don't be afraid of the measurable numbers. Don't be afraid of those things. Those things can help you. And I've actually found in my own personal life, I'm starting to try to put numbers to other things to help me figure out whether or not I'm getting where I want to be. So anyway, it is Wednesday, the 19th of October. I hope you have an awesome day and enjoy yourselves. Rock and roll. Bye.